Welcome everyone to Expanding Your Consciousness through sharing stories and also through discussion. And this is our seventh meetup, and it's December 22nd, 2021. And I just want to do a bit of a follow-up from the last one. Shima, I remember at the end of the last week's recording or video, we talked about or you said, I'm going to do a clearing of everyone, right? Mm-hmm. You know, and things may, surface during that clearing, right? Well, I will tell you, it happened to me twice. We're just, at first I thought I had a cold, and then I realized afterwards it wasn't a cold because it only lasts maybe an hour, right, each time. And I thought, I wonder if that had to do with Shima's clearing, right? I didn't know this too much in our space, but I know we do a lot of clearing of our space here. So, that was fine. But like I said, from a body point of view, I was feeling something. And I don't know if anyone else noticed that.
Yeah.
Did you feel it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting because last week I kind of felt like my ear was a little sore, and I thought, well, I have a good immune system, I'll be fine. And I was, excuse me, but it kept coming back and I thought, no big deal. and yeah, it could have been that because I don't usually get earaches, but I did this time.
Yeah, did it go away?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't anything. It was yeah.
Usually once it's been shown to you, it also like it's resolved. Like it might take a little bit, but then it's resolved. It's just like shown to you that this is something in your body. It's like either from past or it might be even a disease that you are prone to it to get in future, but it's still inside you. So it will just come out and just like to be shown to you.
Yeah, well, I mean, it only lasted like maybe a few minutes.
Oh yeah,
at a time, and then it was, it was done, right? So, and I used to get ear infections all the time, like when I was really little. So
yeah, there you go. Yeah, Sometimes it's just something that you had it like when you're little, and then it's just coming back to you. Yeah,
yeah.
Did you have any experience afterwards? Any sense of clearing anything?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, but Shima said you might see a little more like bugs and things might be crawling around, and I saw one ant today.
I don't know if that counts, but yeah, I just said that you might, like it might happen to you. So just like, you don't wonder if it happens to, it's like, where are all these spiders coming from? Like all of a sudden, or like, cockroaches. Yeah.
I saw one ant and I thought, oh, maybe that's Shima's clearing. So
yeah.
Pretty clear.
That's good.
I wasn't even here, and I have a huge infestation of ants in my kitchen now.
I'll see that.
I know who to blame.
Hey, you weren't even here.
That's what I'm saying.
You don't have to be there.
I asked. Oh, well, this one is because cleansing of your space, we usually have to ask for permission because it's just like something, it's their private space. So we ask for permission. Yeah. So if they say yes, then it's like, okay.
And Brent, you're new to this meetup. I'm just curious what drew you to this meetup.
I missed a group I wanted to go to. Well, two of them actually in one day because I overslept, and so I like to go to groups a lot. So I got out of bed today really late, and I rushed around. I figured, okay, I'll check and see what's going on. So I went on to Meetup and I did a search, and this popped up amongst other things, and it looked very interesting. And I completely forgot about the animal thing. I'm glad I did, or I probably wouldn't be here. So anyway, so here I am, and I'm looking forward to talking about consciousness in people.
Yeah, and do you do a lot of reading and research on consciousness? Or?
I have. I'm reading a book right now on it. I guess the best thing I've done with consciousness is I found a way to get in touch with the deeper sense of my own consciousness through a process that I just sort of woke up into the middle of one day. I'd been doing it for years and hadn't paid any attention to it. And then all of a sudden I realized, oh, it's this process I'm doing that's getting me deeper and deeper inside. So I found a pathway to what looks like the truth inside.
Wow. And this is like your own process of going through it.
Yeah, nobody told me about it. I didn't read about it anywhere. I just woke up in the middle of it one day and went, wow, this works. And
Wow.
so, yeah, yeah.
Because that actually reminds me a bit of like Shima um, follows Master Muhammad Ali Tahiri.
Yeah.
Tahiri. And his is very much a process of connecting, is it not, Shima?
Yeah, yeah. Also, he was getting these basically illuminations and awareness from the universe. And for him, in the beginning, it was a mix of getting it from both positive and like negative. And only like after a few years, he could just tell the difference. But yeah, it was basically the same, and it can happen. It's basically based on your desire. Everything in the mysticism, it's based on your desire. So people who have like really are interested, or like they have like so much, they're just so eager. So they usually can, because there's a resistance, right? So they can go through that resistance to get where they want to get, and to just maybe to see or to be aware of some of the unseen things in this universe.
And I think the word he was using too was enthusiasm. That certain enthusiasm helps you to connect, right?
Yeah.
And it actually reminded me of, if you recall, last week we watched a video of Jasmine, who is a spiritual teacher in Australia. And she had it came across to her accidentally, but it was that whole thing of overcoming limitation. She had that strong desire to remove, to experience freedom is probably the best way of saying it. And in 1993, after a meditation, because she had been meditating since she was like 16, 17 years old. Now she's in her mid 60s. She was basically given this gift of being able to survive on prana, right? And she educates, she travels around the world and educates people on this, and others educate others, right? It passes on. And there's also another famous person, or a person who guides people in that process, and she's in Ukraine. I can never pronounce her name properly, but maybe I have it here somewhere. Olga. If I find her name, I'll actually write it in the video and people can see it. But she does conferences on it and all this. So I think it's important, like your teacher says, when you have that strong will or that strong desire to experience something beyond this material world, you often can do that. You can break down certain barriers.
It's true. Yeah, exactly. Because there are people who've done that throughout the history, like, like Buddha or like other people, other mystics, they've done it. And but then also, like, once you get it, then you can share it with others. So then for others, they don't have to have that strong enthusiasm. Obviously they have to be eager, but they don't have to have that. They can just like be shared. Like for him, I told you, it's also practical, where he share his hadle, or these consciousness fields that you get into. So he also shared that with others. And it's basically, there are two ways, one individual way and one collective way. And what I do is collective way, but like how he found it was individual.
Well, we all came here tonight, didn't we? Because we had a strong desire to come here.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's in all of us. It's just a question of I think a lot of times we don't even believe that there's any kind of power there because I don't know. I was raised in a Christian religion, and I was told that I basically was just a piece of crap, and I had to look outwardly to find truth and not inwardly, and trust the authority and trust us. But and I didn't get a good sense of trusting myself at all, and it took me decades to get out of that. I felt guilty just questioning my own religion. And so finally that happened, but it was because of a desire and an intuition also that something was wrong. And so I wanted to go in a direction that felt right. And so I think that's built into all of us, and
It
we all
is,
can
yeah,
be,
exactly. It's in our nature, right? So it's just like we have to listen to it, and we just have to have that connection with inside us, like, okay, something's missing, I should go after it. And I think with everyone it's like that, like that's why they're going after things in life and they're never really satisfied with them. It's because what they're going after, it's not that. It's like some people might go after money and they're still not satisfied, so they go after power and they're still not satisfied, and so they go after everything. And that's human nature, that we are not satisfied by these material things, that we need to find that like treasure inside us. And then so what we call like our soul, like our soul is showing us the way that, hey, this is not it. So that's why we are not satisfied by it, and then that's why we go like to on a quest to find it.
Lady,
Go ahead.
you're a spiritual teacher. I thought you could add something to this, and you are teaching people about vast as well. So if you could.
Yeah, I can. Okay, because I want to hear everybody too, and I can just like go for an hour, so just cut me off. Okay. So, but Shima, when I was very young, I had my first, I call it a download because that's what it felt like. It felt like I was laying in bed and now I can't move. And all I'm doing is hearing and listening and hearing and listening. It's like, what is just be here? I'm just laying there looking at the ceiling and understanding all these things that I have no business understanding. And they mean nothing to me either. Just like, why do I need to know all this stuff? So that was oh, I don't know. I guess I was in my 30s, 28, 29, 30 in there. But then, I mean, even before that, when I was 8, I knew that there was something unusual. I mean, I was really paying attention. I was also doing medicinal herbalism, started learning it so I could teach it later. And, my relationship with the plants is ridiculous. I love them. They love me. I hear plants. I talk to plants. I talk to trees. I used to eat with chairs with the birds in the trees. They'd come over wild right from my hand. So I always had an affinity outside of the realm of what we're cased in. And I've been accepted by the animal realm and the bird and the bugs and the ants. Yeah, they all come. So that all started happening very young. So it just was part of my life. I never thought of it as anything particular. So all of my life I've been teaching different healing modalities, energetic medicine, all vibrational work. It's all my life. It's just been my whole life. Then I got COVID. And when I got COVID, I got the go to the hospital COVID, not the intubation, thank God. Well, thank everything. But I was out for 6 months. And while that happened, that occurred, there was a time when, that was it. I couldn't breathe anymore. I was tired of coughing. I was just laying there. It was getting grayer and grayer, but the energy around me was familiar. I wasn't afraid at all. I was like, well, actually, you're pretty comforting to have y'all around. It's great. And it was it. To me, it was like, this is a choice. So we're going or we're staying. I was going through everything I was happy about in my life, everywhere I've been, temples and pyramids and bringing groups down underwater and back. I mean, it's crazy, great things I've been able to do with people based on my work. And I was perfectly fine if it was time to go. It's like, okay, well. And I was really not hurting. I didn't have any pain anymore. I wasn't sweating. I was soaked, but I wasn't sweating. I was like between the worlds because I was kind of like, I guess, hallucinatory almost. Couldn't breathe. It was like, but I just stayed there and I just said, well, I'm okay. But if it isn't time to go, better be for a damn good reason, because this is great. So comfortable, calm. And the gray backed away, and my eyes could start seeing. I was like, oh, damn, it's really clearing up. All right. And then it was get up, get up, get up. I'm like, I can't move. Get up, get up. So I had to lift myself up, and which was ridiculous, but became very easy. Just got up. I went to the bathroom, washed up, came back. My sheets were dry. I was dry. There was nothing was wet. Everything was completely cleared, like it never happened. And I climbed back in. I went, okay, what do you want me to do? And then I went to sleep. And when I woke up, there it was again, a very clear calling to be more specific about where our information comes from, and that we're available to it. Everyone is entitled to one thing, and that's the vast knowledge that's available to everything that's living. The stories we were told when we were young, like Brent was saying, you've been taught this. You've been taught, don't question religion, don't question what I'm telling you. It's blind faith. It's you have to have belief, and all these words. And I was little, Brent, and we used to build churches. It's part of my family thing. Roman Catholic, we built churches in our little neighborhood. And I asked them, why is Mary, mother, outside in a half shell? And Jesus, he's hanging, but he's inside. So my little mind just couldn't even understand that. That was wrong. That was so wrong to me. And the mothers were like they never even thought about it. And I was really upset about it. So I'd go out and put little things around her feet. When it's raining, I brought a plastic bag. What are you doing? You're desecrating. I went, she's wet. So I think it started from then, and then it just proceeded. But I always knew something was wrong, right? And when it came time to go out and discover and explore, I did. I mean, I left my country. I left everything and went out to find what it was I was looking for. So 73 countries later, and still not done, I found that the books that we've been told that are the books are all written hundreds of centuries of years later after this occurred. And it's just like any of these stories we have from oral traditions. You can't really prove what's what. Nobody's still living to validate this. You got to have a little bit of science behind things for me. I am skeptical. So before I tell you anything, I have to test it myself so many times. So I found out about vast. So vast. Why do I call it vast? Vast is a place that is so enormous that there's no other word I can use. The only first word I thought was, wow, it's ginormous here. Who's going to use that word? Nobody. Nobody's using that word. So vast. Vast was it. So when I heard vast, I said, yeah, that covers it. So what vast does? So you're going to have to follow, you're going to have to go with me here. I'm not questioning your belief system or religion. I don't want to even talk about that. I want to just talk about what I know to be true for me and what I'm doing with it. Vast is a place where all of your gatherings of your whole life, everything about you, every experience you have, every knowledge you have that you turn into experience, then you turn into wisdom, everything that you have, when you die, all of that, which I'll call the subconscious, goes into vast, all of it. You don't float around to another place. You don't become another being. You don't rebirth. You're there. And not only you, when I'm there, so many energies are there, and all of them are getting along just fine. No fighting, no anger, no nothing. Why? It's devoid of emotion. There's no emotion in this space. It's just total freedom. You're in total bliss. You are floating in a gel. You just feel like you're in a gel, and you want for nothing. You don't have to wish or dream or care or worry, because there's nothing there to worry, care, or dream about. You are completely getting everything you need. It's just you're in it, and everything around you is also in that same state. It's the happiest place I've ever been. It's joy. It's just joy. Now, people say, well, we need love. We all need love. The planet needs love. I said, yeah, that's great. So define it. What's the definition of love? Everyone defines love by associating it with something else. It feels like I want it to be, or you care about, but what's love exactly? And that brings you back to, who are you? Do you know really who you are? Can you make your heart stop beating? Can you feel your skin if you don't touch it? Who are you? What are you? And in Vast, all of that is stripped away. The space between your who and there seems thin, but when you're in it, it just opens up to this really beautiful, beautiful space. So.
And there is no space there, right?
What, hon?
And there is no space there.
No, it's not
No,
space.
there is no space.
No place, but
no
there's
place.
Space. Yeah. But there's space, but no place.
Is that happening right now, or is it something you get to after you die?
No, you can do it now. I teach people how to do it now. Why wait?
So you're living in it you're living in it then, right, all the time?
I live in it most of the time. When I have to do things that are very earthly, then I still do both. But it's a lot easier when I can just, it's like drugs, but no drugs. It's like happy, happy, joy, joy. And when something comes to you that's just, disheartening, you don't have the same pull towards it because you're so happy and so joyful in your life. Those things just don't have anywhere to go because you vibrate higher. So the higher you vibrate off of something, the lower energy that's vibrating lower, which pulls you down, which negativity is, it's a lower vibration. It pulls you down and you can pull into it, or you can vibrate higher and stay up where you are. And that takes, you were saying all these words, but the word that I use for Vast is you have to have passion. You have to have passion for what you want. And you have to know what you want. And this is the biggest question. What do you want? Not tomorrow, not what I didn't have. Do you have to look back at your life and fix it? No, you did it. You are a representation of what happened. Going back to fix it, it's not going to change this. Now you need to move forward. And in Vast, that's what it's about. It's about all that knowledge you need to move forward, accept who you are. I mean, yeah, that takes some time, but not a lot. And when there's a trauma or a grief, or one girl called me up because her father died. I don't really know her, but she's from Egypt. She met me in Egypt. So she found me and she said, my father died. And I'm like, I'm sorry. and I just can't get over it. I said, okay, why did you call me? Because you're in Egypt and I am not there. So there's a million people you can call. And she said, I don't know. I went, okay, that's her dad. Okay. All right. Okay, fine. So then I started working with her and she joined Insights, which Diane did for a short time, in which we explore this deeply. We go into all kinds of things with Insights, and it's about how to use that and to reach that and to be in that and make that part of your life instead of something you come and go from. She did that. And she finally, not only did she accept her father's passing, but she actually started to having communications with her dad without having to go through anyone to get there, because it's that simple. And once she understood the difference between what you think it is versus what it is, she found her boundary and then crashed through it. So now she's actively having conversations and she tests them. I said, test them. It's a good idea. She tests them and she's very comfortable now. So she's doing great. I thought she was going to take much longer to get past her grief, but she hasn't. She's at a stage that usually takes 6 months to get to. She did it in 2.5. So I'm really happy for her, but I know this works. I know that when you get a chance to be that and nothing is holding you back, and you are able to float in that bliss and ask any question you want, there's tons of conversation, tons going on. You just focus on, what do you want? You have to say, what do you want? You can't just go floating around with not knowing what you want, because then it's confusing. So that's the hardest thing to answer, really. Anyway,
can I ask you what you want?
What do I want?
Yes.
Yes. All right. So what I want right now is I'm working on a new healing modality that allows people to self-heal. They don't need to go to anyone else. And I've been working on it for 2 years. So what do I want? I want to finish that in the next 2.5 weeks. That's enough want time. Mm-hmm. That's not too far in the future. You shouldn't be going in the future, but I know where I am in the stage of it. And I'm now at the personal stage where you have the opportunity to take this modality and use it on specific areas of your body, mental, emotional, physical, or spiritual, whatever it may be. So I want to finish that. I like to finish it by the end of the year and then teach it out. And then once you have it, you own it. You just have to do it. And it takes 8 minutes a day. And it includes vibration, energetics, movement, and sound. And your own voice. So I'm very proud of it, and it's taken 2 years to get to this point. But it's not my first modality I've ever done, but this is one where humanity can heal themselves. Let's do it, because you are.
We were actually talking about this. I think last week you were not here, and we're talking about paradharmony, which is it's the same conception where you connect with the higher consciousness and you just let it be, let it run through you, and then just because in ourselves the information exists, the information of healing itself exists. It just needs to be activated or reactivated. And that's what the connection does. But I think what you refer to, Bas, is what we call Hij, or nothingness. So that's where, and correct me if I'm wrong, that's where there is no time, no place, no conflict. And that's why it's so freeing. It's just joy, it's just bliss. And
the only thing, let me just say this, Shima, it's not nothingness.
It's not nothingness. Okay, no, then I'm wrong.
Definitely, okay. It's not. It's lots of what you're saying, some of them, but it's definitely not nothing. It's something, but it's not this.
It's nothing. It's nothing that is something. That nothingness is something. Yeah. But it's because we cannot really put it in words, and that's why we call it nothingness, because we cannot be explained. And it cannot be put into words.
Dave, you would know this because you studied that in Buddhism, right?
Oh yeah, that was a huge part of Buddha's philosophy, was trying to get your head around nothingness, or form and nothingness. And I'm sure Cody has probably more that he can add to that. But I understand what Lady and Shima are talking about, because I've done, and again, it's been the trajectory, something through my whole life. And there's always been that inward journey. And when you tap into this limitless joy, you realize how, that's it, that's, and it's a, matter of, staying in that bliss. And you can take it, you live in it. Once you've experienced it, or you've become familiar with it, that is your central part. That's your, the thing that you are. And everything else that's happening around you, you have to navigate it, but at your core, you have this bliss, and it is your, like, there's so many attempts to try to say what it is, but if you're talking about the same thing, you understand it. Whether some people might call it their higher self, or however many other ways they try attempts to describe it. Again, it's nothing you can put into words. It is something that you've experienced, and that you were seeking it, and you found it. You knew there's always been this longing. What is it? Where is it? And I've had it since I can, as far back as I can remember. And there was always a longing. And so that was the impetus. I wasn't looking for riches, or, and at certain points in my life, I was looking for contentment through other people and things, but that wasn't really what I was longing for. But when I look back at, what was this longing? And after I feel that I have found it, and I realize, well, that's what that was all about. You were, and perhaps I had been familiar with it. It seemed like I was familiar with it. It seemed like I was, trying to find something I already knew. And so,
Dave, I just want to say this on that. Every single person here listening or wherever, all have experienced fast.
Yeah.
It's not new. Everyone has been there and they just didn't know.
Yeah.
You know, everyone. So we all know it. So when you feel it again, it's not unfamiliar because you've already been in. When you arrived here and you took your first breath, you took that first flame into your body and ignited it so you could breathe. That space is where you came from.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you definitely know it.
Yeah.
It sounds to me like the present moment. It
Mm-hmm.
sounds to me like right now, and being able to be with whatever is. I mean, a complete
You're in your
acceptance.
physical, don't you think that with your physical self that limits the
No, because I'm not talking
separate
about
yourself? How do you separate yourself from your physicality?
Well, physicality is present. Here it is, but it's the mind, and the search for truth is way above physicality.
No, I understand that. I'm just wondering how
Physicality
you,
shows up within mind, actually. Whatever we know about physicality is part of our conscious experience, right? Because
Yeah.
we can't get to anything out. We're in consciousness. Everything shows up in consciousness. So in this present moment, if we could accept everything, like just be with what is and not desire something else than what is, we'd be in that blissful state all the time.
yeah.
So I think it's not about the future getting someplace. It's not about the past. It's about how can I, in this present moment right now, how can I be here fully and completely and just accept everything that's happening to me. And maybe that's the point of all this, is to get out of this idea that it's tomorrow or it's after I do this or that. Because usually you do something and you think it's going to get you somewhere, and it doesn't really work out that well. But my experience is there's the present moment. And when I first started getting into this, it was amazing, because it's like we're always in the present moment. It's like you can't really get out of it. Like we don't exist in the future and we don't exist in the past. We exist here right in this instant. So all that we want has got to be through the present moment and through the now. It all has to come in right here. And all this stuff is coming and going. Like bliss comes and goes, pain and suffering come and go. They all are happening in the moment when they happen. And some things just happen and you got to deal with it. I mean, if you break your leg, it's going to hurt, and if you lose an attachment that you're really attached to, that's going to hurt. And so I think we're in a phase where we're waking up to what we are. We don't really know exactly what that is. We don't even know where we are. I mean, what the hell's going on? Is this a dream? Is it real? Is it an illusion? Is it the Matrix? I mean, we really don't even know what's going on at all. And we're trying to get all this stuff figured out. So we go with what we experience in the present moment. And I've had some massively incredible, blissful present moments. And I wish they would last forever, but they don't. The moment changes, and then you got to deal with that. So but it's in accepting, like everything. I mean, I've been through some emotional hell recently, because my landlord isn't doing what he's supposed to do as a landlord. That's my attachment, and so that puts me in a space where I feel disrespected, and in proportion to how big my ego is and how big my identity is, that I'm the person who needs to be respected by everybody. That particular belief, that's what's going to determine how I feel in that instant. And can I look at that? Can I see that suffering that's going on, and recognize it's going on because I'm attached to an idea of who I am that's not supposed to feel this, that's not supposed to be treated that way. And that's something that we don't really know, the purpose of all this, right? What is the purpose of all this that we're experiencing? What's behind it? We don't have a clear 100% understanding of what that is. And so as we wake up, we discover things that help us out, and that's great. And it's wonderful that Lady Colleen is telling us about this, and Dave is telling us about this, and Shima's telling us about this, and Brenda's telling us about this, and it all points to the same spot, which is being totally available to experience this present moment fully and accept everything and not need anything else than what is.
But in
Can
saying
I
that,
ask?
you're great. It's
Yeah.
not a who's Arnold said who is it?
I'd like to ask a question of Brent. I'm interested in training the mind. And so when you experience the now, there's people who experience the now and people who don't experience the now. So what I'd like to help people do is to learn to experience the now. But that means that there is a past, a present, and a future. In the past, I couldn't experience the now. I'm trying to learn how. And so how does that fit into your paradigm?
Well, right now,
present, isn't it?
right now, the past doesn't exist. Right now, the future doesn't exist. These are ideas and concepts and remembrances and conjectures, you know. And yeah, we've got memories, and we can go back to the way it felt before, and we got aspirations for how well it's going to feel in the future. We've got those, but the key is understanding that it's got to happen now, because it's always now. If someone asks you what time it is and you say it's now, could you ever be wrong? It's never not now. See, that's the trick of this thing, thinking you need to get into the now. We are always in the now. The point is, what is your attention on? What are you thinking about? What are you interested in? Where are you looking? If you're looking toward the source of where everything comes from, the Tao Te Ching, the darkness within the darkness, the source where everything comes out of, if you're focused on that in the present moment and you're watching the arisings that are coming into your consciousness right now, that I have found is the pathway that takes us deeper and deeper and deeper into truth. And I'm not looking to get out of suffering. I'm not looking for happiness. I'm not looking for anything like that. I'm looking for truth. Because for me, when I find truth, that brings its own set of fulfillment and happiness in that instant. But if you're searching for something else besides truth, you'll have it temporarily, and then it will go away. So if you're focused in the present moment on the truth and are watching what's coming up within you, if you're focused on the feelings that you're having and the way they're changing, and you start a dialogue with yourself out loud, literally, and talk about how am I feeling in this moment right now? What's going on right now for me? You'll discover very quickly that the words coming out of your mouth are coming from the subconscious, because we're not consciously picking and choosing our words. You can't pick and choose words from some database in your mind fast enough to talk like this. So that's the subconscious mind is throwing out the words. The words come out of your mouth and they go back in your ear. Your consciousness is now listening to the words that the subconscious is saying. Then consciousness says something. Consciousness comments on what it's feeling in that moment. And then that starts a feedback loop of listening to the words, commenting on the words, listening to the comments, commenting on the comments. And so this feedback loop starts up, and it helps center you right in the present moment, helps put your focus of attention on what's arising right now, which is as close as you can get to the present moment as there is, just being one with what's happening right now. And it helps you to see your own ego, which is the sum total of all the identities that you have that say, this is who I am. So that would be the species, I'm a human being, gender, ethnicity, nationality, personality, roles we play in life and family, roles we play in business. These are all identities that we have. None of them is us. None of them is me. But we think most of the time we are these identities, and these identities are suffering. I suffer as a human being. I suffer as Brent. I suffer as this guy who's been disrespected by his landlord. So this is where the suffering comes out of. It's where your identity is that's incorrect. If you think you are something in particular, then that's going to get you in trouble, because at some point that is going to be threatened. It's not who you are. What is who we are? What is that? Well, we're in the process of finding out, aren't we? The more attention we put in the present moment on what's arising in the moment, that's the pathway I found that leads to the truth within. And every teacher that was on this planet, Buddha and Jesus and all these people, they found that place. They were speaking from that place. And that's what turns us on. And when we get into loving relationships with each other, where we share the moment together and we feel love for each other, like you look at the other person and that you sense, boy, I love that person, and they look at you, I love that person. You think you're a separate person loving another separate person. but there's this thing that forms in the middle, and when you put your arms around each other, you feel it, and it's like, where do I stop and where does this other person start? And you can't tell where that is because there's just this one thing present in that moment. So that's what I think love is. I think it's the revelation of the nature of the oneness of this loving conscious energy that we are to itself as one thing, because we're all one underneath everything.